providing resources and comfort to caregivers. This is Caregiver Crossing.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to see you. Welcome to Caregiver Crossing. Thanks for being here. If this is your first time joining us, Caregiver Crossing, it's a show that's brought to you by our friends at Joy's House, and it's presented in partnership with Cardon and Associates. We're here with you every week, and we talk about all things caregiving. Most of the time, we stay on that path. Every once in a while, we jump off, but we always get back on. I'm Terry Stacy, by the way, and I'm in studio with
Noah Taylor,
producer extraordinaire. And joining us on the phone, who's not feeling very well, is Tina Bina McIntosh from the northeast side of Indianapolis. Boom!
I have COVID.
Yeah, she does. See, to a lot of people, if I just may jump in, think that's gone. And it's not.
It's not gone. No.
Just because it's not in the news, people are still getting COVID. And bless your heart, how do you feel?
I mean, I feel like I have COVID. Like, I feel like I have a cold or a sinus infection or, the flu. And here's the thing I will say is that in a good way, I don't think we fear COVID and those things like we used to. But I had somebody recently say to me, well, COVID's just not going away. And I said, it's actually not going away. Like, not just say it, flip it. Like, it's not going to go away. It's a virus strand, and we will have COVID forever. Or for however long, but It's not going to go away. And so people are going to catch it, but we don't freak out like we used to. And we know we can get through it. So
we know we can get through it, but still those that, there's a list of people that it could harm.
That's right.
So it's the same thing. Right? Like, you just keep your eye on things and you monitor and you ask questions. And I'm just glad you're feeling right.
You watch your blood oxygen, and if you have any symptoms, you go and get it taken care of. But I mean, I went to MedCheck; they were great, and they didn't. I mean, remember when you used to go get checked for COVID, and you felt like you were like in ET? Do you remember those days? Did you ever go?
I do.
There was a tunnel and an incubator, and there were people in full uniforms.
Oh,
it's not like that anymore. So
no,
just be responsible.
Just be responsible. But you're right, Tina. Yeah. You're bringing back my memory of standing in long line. I think the Army injected my arm after.
I'm sure it was a general.
It was something that you never thought you would be doing in your life. My lifetime, I never thought I'd be in a long line waiting for this drug. That thank you for the memory.
Did you literally do that, a long line, and there was like an army?
You had to schedule it if you remember. You scheduled it online. And then you went during your scheduled time, and you could choose whether you wanted this drug or the other drug. And if you went to one drug, you'd go to another.
Long ago?
Because it felt like it was a long time ago. Drive-through clinic, right?
And they shove that thing all the way up in your brain.
Yes.
I mean, anyway.
Yes.
Anyway, hi. Hi, everybody.
We got off the path. We got off the path for just a minute.
I'll be back next week. You cannot get rid of me that long because I only have to isolate for 5 days.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if you know, but it is National Therapeutic Recreation Week. Noah, what does that mean, really?
That means it's intended to raise awareness of therapeutic recreation programs and services that could improve the health of individuals with multiple disabilities, physical, mental, or emotional. Sure. This has been the second week of July, National Therapeutic Recreation Week, since 1984. I think it's really important. These activities can include adaptive sports, art therapy, music therapy, horticulture therapy, and one of my favorites, animal-assisted therapy.
Love it.
Time out. Yeah. Terry just responded when you said horticulture therapy like it was her favorite pastime.
Well, I don't know what it is.
What is horticulture?
Well, I pictured being out in the corn, which I would love. God, was it detasseler?
I think that might work.
Corn detasseling is a therapeutic thing.
I can't say I've done it.
That's what your parents told you all the time when you were having to detasel the corn. I think it is things like plants and, plant-based activities. And so there's a lot that goes along with that. I tell you what I love is the whole idea of oils and herbs, but I don't think that's what horticulture therapy. I think it's literally working with the plants
oils and
nature.
Herbs. Just the way you said it. oils and herbs.
Yeah,
That sounds
that's a different session that we should have, because like I'm a big believer in a lot of that stuff, kind of getting back to our roots, you know, of who we are as people. But as far as National Therapeutic Recreation Week is concerned, you know, where we get confused sometimes is that we think that there are things like, oh, well, music therapy, that's easy enough. You just listen to some music and it becomes therapeutic. And there is therapeutic activity with music, and there's music therapy. And those things are very different and intentional. And so my question to you guys is, and you can keep it loose for this conversation, but have you ever witnessed an activity that you think could be considered therapeutic recreation?
Oh, swinging on the porch.
That is very therapeutic.
Amen.
Yes, I like that one a lot.
Everybody swing on the porch. Everybody get on the porch and swing for a minute and just do it. And you'll find that it is the most peaceful. Now, I'm not talking about with the phone in your hand. I'm talking about, look, Noah's like, oh, okay, never
Well,
mind. You had me till then. Put that phone down and just swing for a minute and you'll be so happy. Tina Bina, what about you?
Oh my gosh. So much. Yes. You know, since I've not been feeling well, I've been laying on the front porch just because it's been beautiful weather. And like my barn cats are all over me. And there's something that just recharges me with that. But I will tell you, sticking with the animal assisted, we had our Joy's House open house a month ago.
Yeah.
And one of our guests who's living with dementia sat outside with the Agape Therapeutic mini horses.
Man.
And she brushed their hair and she braided the hair and talked and was alive in a way that we don't get to see every day. And that was special.
Wow.
So, I don't know. Noah, you?
I love that story.
I don't know if there's anything that I can think of, but I do. I really would love to try music therapy. Music has been a giant part of my life forever, and I've never really experienced what the therapy. I mean,
I bet you really haven't. You don't even know it was called therapy.
Exactly.
You were just loving music.
Exactly.
In your room.
I've listened to music, and it's been therapeutic to me. But I've never tried the actual therapy. I think that would be incredible.
You know, I wonder. Going back to the horses, I wonder if those animals know that what they're doing. You know, I wonder if they know, if they feel the joy that they are bringing to a human being. I'm going to say they do.
All right. Listen, we have to take a break.
Oh,
but here's what I will say.
Okay.
Animals, particularly horses, are so smart. I would say yes. It's in their eyes.
They know.
It's in their
dogs
eyes.
too.
So,
I bet dogs know. Yeah.
It's just a good reminder for us that like leisure and recreation are not only a source of enjoyment, but it can be a means to enhance our quality of life. And we just have to, enjoy those moments.
Yeah. Okay, here's my moment.
I know we need to take a break.
Yeah, and Tina, go lay down, and we'll get you at the end. Go get some rest right now, and we'll call you back.
All right.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Sounds good.
You're listening to Caregiver Crossing, a show designed for family caregivers and the people who love them. Caregiver Crossing is brought to you as a service of Joy's House in partnership with Cardon and Associates. With locations in Broad Ripple and near the University of Indianapolis campus, Joy's House provides exceptional day services for individuals living with a life-altering diagnosis and compassionate support for family caregivers throughout the community. At Joy's House, we believe that everyone deserves to live their best life, regardless of their abilities. Learn more about our adult day and caregiver support services by calling us at 317-254-0828 or by visiting joycehouse.org today. That web address again is joycehouse.org. Stick around, we'll be right back with more Caregiver Crossing right after this.
This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites, like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies, like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee for your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply. If you're waking up feeling like you could use a few more hours of sleep, the problem might be right underneath you. Better quality sleep comes with a better quality bed. And the Sleep Number Smart Bed uniquely contours to your head, neck, and shoulders for a more comfortable sleep. It's a total game changer. All night long, you can count on your Sleep Number smart bed to automatically respond and adjust to your movements so that you can sleep comfortably all night long, which feels amazing after a tough workout. You can even get personalized insights about your sleeping habits to help you sleep better. It's like having a coach for your best sleep. And now during Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed, plus special financing for a limited time. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, official sleep and wellness partner of the NFL. See store for details.
Welcome back to Caregiver Crossing. Today, I'm your producer, Noah Taylor, and joining us is our co-host,
Terry Stacy. Thank you all so much for being here today. We've got a very special guest, Noah.
Oh, incredibly special. Today, joining us is Peggy Neale. Peggy is the main caregiver and guardian to her adult relative with Down syndrome. Peggy knows firsthand how rewarding yet difficult caring for your loved one can be. Let's get right into it, Peggy. Could you tell us a little bit about your journey as a caregiver for your relative?
Absolutely. And first of all, thank you for inviting me here today. Yes, my husband and I became guardians and caregivers of my husband's 59-year-old Down syndrome sister, Gretchen, in 2018 when my husband's mother passed away at the age of 90. And she was still the primary caregiver at the age of 90.
Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, at the age of 90 and still caring for Gretchen. Now Gretchen is in your care, and I know there must be some rewarding moments that you've experienced as a caregiver. There are sometimes we just look at the negative stuff, but I want to hear about the rewarding moments.
Absolutely. And there are rewarding moments. I will say, you talked about age of 90, and I think that is really incredible. When we think about caregivers, this is what you do. I mean, you do it for your life. And so, yes, when my husband and I got Gretchen in 2018, we still had 2 teenage boys with us. And so, we certainly have journeyed with her up to this date. And I think some of the really rewarding moments are, as a family, how we've come together as a family. We've had to slow things down, be patient with each other around a lot of things. I think some super fun things are that Gretchen loves WWE All-Star Wrestling.
That's awesome.
We know more about John Cena in my house than John Cena probably even knows about himself.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. Have you actually been to an event?
We have not, but we do have the wrestling channel. So I tell you, it is on in the background all the time. Someday we will get to an event. Someday we talk about that. It would be very fun to get to an event.
We're going to have a big one here in Indianapolis next year.
I did see that.
And we're going to make sure you go.
Oh, we would love to.
Yeah.
We would love to.
We'll figure that out. We'll figure it out.
Yes.
It really would.
Yes.
Noah.
So along with the rewarding moments you've experienced as a caregiver, could you maybe let us in on what are some of the biggest challenges of being a caregiver?
Yeah. So, I think again, we've learned a lot, and this has been a journey, as I think all caregivers have. And, I think there's things that have gotten easier, when you know more, you have more resources, you've lived things. I think what's harder is that, Gretchen's aging and her mental capacity continues to diminish, and she is almost nonverbal. She can't identify what she needs. She can't ask for what she needs. She's not able to even verbalize what happened an hour before. And so, that's really challenging. To, sort of like, day to day, what are we doing here? And, there have been mix-ups. I mean, we've got a lot of community resources. There was one time she unfortunately got on a wrong community bus, and she ended up getting dropped off at a grocery store and was there for 4 hours. And until somebody identified, a young woman who has a disabled brother identified what was going on. So, it's a lot of those things that happen that are really challenging.
Yeah, but it doesn't come with a handbook. There's you learn from experience, failures included. You learn as you go. I think for many caregivers, and I think that's oftentimes why they feel isolated and there's so much going on their plate. It's overwhelming, and it affects you mentally, and it affects you financially, and even your social wellness. And I'm guessing that this has all affected you in the very same way.
Yes, it has. And, financially, it is expensive. I mean, we are fortunate that there is some government support, but it does not cover a lot of stuff. I mean, we really, we are financially supporting Gretchen. Socially, my husband and I, have to be really thoughtful about being away from home and traveling and even choices that we make with Gretchen, and, making sure that if we're bringing her into this situation, she's going to be successful. And I think it's also challenging, to explain to people Gretchen's limitations. I think, people think that, there's more that she is capable of, and there isn't. And I think people are, want to be kind ultimately, but they don't understand. And, Ryan and I are mentally fatigued a lot. We get worn out. It impacts our rest, and it impacts our health as well, for sure.
Please, go ahead, Noah.
Could you share a specific instance with us where maybe you felt a little bit overwhelmed? And then for our listeners, could you let us know how you dealt with that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think sometimes, just even family dinners, getting together for holidays can be really overwhelming for us because, we're having to, shower Gretchen, get her in her clothes, comb her hair. But yet, we also want to spend time with our family and our sons. But yet we have to, sort of do all of the wraparound, and we're not able to, socialize or maybe enjoy our family in the right way that we want to. And so, for us, it's really Ryan and I making sure that we're really talking about what is this day going to look like? How can we support each other? How can we ask for help maybe at different points during this day so that we don't end up, at the end of the day feeling like we missed out, that we're, sad because we didn't get to enjoy things in the same way because of, the wraparound that we need to do when Gretchen is with us in those kind of situations.
Yeah, absolutely. I am one of those people that believes that you're in this situation for a reason. This is all part of the plan, and that there's a reason why you're in it at this moment and doing what you're doing and caring for. How old did you say? 50? She's 50.
59.
59, nearly 60 years old.
Yes.
And what a responsibility. But also we hear about caregiver burnout and how that how long have you been caring for Gretchen?
Since 2018.
2018. So have you experienced that at any point so far?
Oh, we have. But, I think, as anybody who's a caregiver, it doesn't go away. So, it's again, things have gotten easier in the sense that we have realized what we need to do to take care of ourselves so we don't get burned out. I'm not saying we don't. And we certainly have times that we do. And so I think, we have learned to laugh about a lot of things. We laugh a lot about John Cena and All-Star Wrestling.
That's great. That's great.
So important to laugh.
So that is really good. But we also have learned, we can't be secretive about what we're doing. We share what is going on in our lives with people. And I think it is surprising to us that people sort of don't really realize what it is that we're doing. I mean, I remember at work a couple of years ago, I was sharing that I was making meals for Gretchen, and people were sort of like, why are you doing all of that cooking for Gretchen? And, so I think, then sort of unpacking what is really going on, that it, helps others understand. And I think for my husband and I think we would just wish people had more empathy for caregivers and what is happening. I think I don't want to, again, we great value in what we do for Gretchen, and we would not have it any other way, but it is really hard. And it is not bunnies and rainbows every day for us, but we also find great value in it. So I say that to your point about, there is a reason that we're doing this, and there is great joy that we get out of doing this, but it is really hard. It is really hard.
It is really hard. I'm just know it. And Peggy, I'd love to keep you. Can you stick around? We'd like to have you for another segment if you've got the time. Can you talk to us, stay a little bit longer?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Thank you for asking.
No, I'm glad you're here, and we're going to take a break, everybody. This is Caregiver Crossing. Glad that you're here, but we will continue, our conversation with Peggy and talk more about a survey that was conducted by her workplace about caregiving. Noah?
You're listening to Caregiver Crossing, a show designed for family caregivers and the people who love them. Caregiver Crossing is brought to you by Joyce House in partnership with Cardon and Associates. With 20 communities owned, operated, or managed in the Midwest, and more than 40 years of senior living experience, Cardon and Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. Visit cardon.us for more information and to find a community near you. Stay put, everybody. We'll be right back with more Caregiver Crossing after the break.
Getting the smile and confidence you've been dreaming about, all from the comfort of your home, isn't a total mystery with Bite clear aligners. Just don't be surprised if all your friends start asking, "What's your secret?" Begin by ordering your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95. Bite clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer flexible financing, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
Have you ever covered a carpet stain with a rug, ignored a leaky faucet, pretended your half-painted living room is supposed to look like that? Well, you're not alone. We've all got unfinished home projects. But there's an easier way. Thumbtack is the app that makes it easier to care for your home. Pull out your phone and in just a few taps, search, chat, and book highly rated pros right in your neighborhood. Download Thumbtack and start caring for your home the easier way.
Welcome back, everybody, to Caregiver Crossing. Hello again, Peggy. Thank you so much for staying with us, and thank you so much for sharing your story. Really incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If you're just joining us, Peggy is a caregiver to 59-year-old Gwen, who is a relative, and she has, I'm sorry, not Gwen. Gretchen, excuse me. It was a G name.
Gretchen.
I lost it. I forgot it.
Okay.
Gretchen, yeah. And 59 years old, and they now have Gretchen and are taking care of her. Peggy, your workplace, is it okay if I jump in, Noah?
Absolutely.
Okay, because her workplace, Securian Financial, recently released a survey about caregiving, and I'm interested to know some of those key findings from that survey, Peggy.
Absolutely. And it was so fabulous that Securian did this study on caregiving in this survey. I am in a position at Securian where I get to meet with employers. And I'm sure that you all have seen that there have been recent Wall Street Journal articles around caregiving, which is, really shows that there is such a focus on it from employers. And, employers are focused on it because caregiving is growing. More than 1 in 5 adults is currently serving as an unpaid caregiver. There is this trend, baby boomers are aging, and,
the sandwich generation.
People yes, by the age of 2040, all baby boomers will be age 75 or older, and they are going to need care, and that care will most likely come from a family member. And so, Securian survey showed that 78% of caregivers are working full time, and they expect their employers to provide benefits to support their caregiving.
Wow. So,
yes. And so the survey also showed that caregiving has the greatest impact on workers' personal wellness. Some stats that they found were that 57% of caregivers said their caregiving responsibilities impact their mental wellness. 54% caregivers said their caregiving responsibilities impact their financial wellness, missing work, or workers, getting them financial issues. I mean, I'm fortunate I have PTO, but there's a lot of people that don't. They have to miss work. They don't get income. And so, and then also 52% of caregivers said that their social wellness has taken a hit because of how much time that they're spending caregiving. So personal time off, flexible hours, have to be used for caregiving.
So how do these findings reflect your own experiences as a caregiver?
That sounds exactly like what we were talking about before the break. All those
Yes.
things that affected you as well.
They did. They have all affected me. And so I think from this survey, what some of the main thing that it found was that what can employers do to support caregivers that are in the workplace? So I know that you have people listening that are working and they're in this situation where they're probably caring for an aging parent. And so there were 4 key findings from this. And so the first one was demonstrate trust and empathy. So being, able to accommodate a worker's schedule and having flexibility to work from different locations is really important. Ensuring that human resources teams prioritize caregiving, understanding, and compassion, and having opportunities for employees to ask questions about caregiving benefits. An interesting story, when my husband and I became Gretchen's caregivers and guardians in 2018, you can imagine we were very overwhelmed, not only dealing with the death of his mother, but we had 2 teenage sons. Now we were caregivers to a disabled adult. And at that time, my husband went to his employer and shared with him that he was overwhelmed, he was needing assistance, and he was in a leadership position. And his leader's response was that he should transition his leadership role to someone else.
Oh, wow.
What kind of response is that?
Rather
my
than,
goodness.
rather than finding a way to assist him or accommodate, in a short period of time. And so that would have been a significant financial burden for our family. But it really shows that, people are hesitant to share this information,
That's right.
especially if an employer does not have empathy and isn't demonstrating that trust.
Yeah. And that's what, we've heard that for years, that so many, particularly males that are caregivers, that they keep that in their heart. They don't let anybody know what they're doing. And that in itself is just a lot on your shoulders. That's a lot to hold on to. But to hear that it's still in 2024, it's still something that there are some that want to keep that quiet for just that very reason. I think that's sad that not more employers are more.
Yeah, I think so too.
Show a little more empathy.
It seems like organizations should do a lot more to help their caregivers.
Because they're going to be caregivers someday.
They will be.
They just will. I believe, that if we're not one now, we're going to be one later. I just believe it. Okay. Anyway,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Noah.
well, along with
No.
that,
You interrupted.
that kind of leads me to a question. What kind of support do you think organizations could give to some of their employees, other than maybe PTO or a flexible schedule, so that they can take care of their loved one?
Yeah, so, for sure that, demonstrating the trust and empathy, expanding the benefits education. I mean, employers have, they offer a lot of great benefits. I mean, there's, paid time off benefits, there's leave benefits, there's mental health support benefits. Securian actually developed a dependent parent benefit that is available on some of our supplemental health solutions, which has been wildly popular. And because it's one of the few actually insurance benefits that, people can use if they're taking care of dependent parents. But I think ultimately it's, packaging these up in a way that if you are a caregiver, here's the list of resources that are available to you. I think, when you're in this situation, you're, immediately overwhelmed. You don't know where to go, and you're sort of looking at this array of benefits and you're not quite sure how they can help you. And so really expanding that education so that, there's an opportunity maybe for one-on-one sessions that this information can be shared. Also, validating confidentiality. I think, one of the biggest barriers to utilizing workplace benefits for caregivers revolves around the concern about privacy and confidentiality. Nearly a quarter of people surveyed said they needed to be made aware of the resources offered to employers, but they wanted to be reminded that these benefits are private, they're confidential, there's no penalty for using them. That, people that employers want people to use these benefits. So reinforcing that, I think, is really important.
I think that is such an important idea, that we're not going to get penalized for reaching out and asking for help.
That's right.
It's something really that you should do. And it obviously,
you should feel good about that. I mean, you should feel confident enough to be able to do that without being looked upon as somebody that now can't move up in the company, or that isn't a bit. I think women had the problem too when we were, what pregnancy used to be a part of this, kind of trying to keep that under wraps for a while too. We had that same fear long ago of telling our employer we were pregnant or something. Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
Yes. tip for employers, what employers can do, is establishing caregiving resource groups. I think that's really important then, for somebody who's a caregiver to know that there is the resource group where they can get together with other people that are caregivers that they work with. I mean, it has been interesting for me. There are people that know I'm a caregiver, and I have had coworkers reach out when all of a sudden they have now, something has changed with their parents' health, and they're calling me saying, oh my gosh, what advice do you have for me? You can't believe what I'm going through. And, we're having conversations, supportive conversations. So having those resources so that there's groups of people that can get together is also just a really easy tip for employers. And if somebody's listening that, their employer doesn't have one of these resource groups, offer to, help start one. I think is just a simple way of, helping to support each other.
All right, Peggy, thank you so much. We've got to go, but we really appreciate you. You are so terrific.
Thank you. Bless your heart. We'll keep thinking about you and all that you've got on your plate as well. Take good care of yourself, Peggy.
Thank you. Great to be here. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Peggy. You're listening to Caregiver Crossing, a show designed for family caregivers and the people who love them. We're here every week to bring you support, education, and hopefully a good laugh. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Caregiver Crossing shortly.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you if people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else? Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today. What makes a life a good one? Is it the adventure you have? Or the friends you find along the way? Maybe it's pursuing your passion while striving to protect, defend, and save what you believe in every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? In the Coast Guard, we think it's all of the above and more, but you'll have to find out for yourself. Visit gocoastguard.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Caregiver Crossing. Terry Stacy, along with Noah Taylor, is here. He's producing today's show. Also want to say thanks to Peggy, who joined us in just a bit ago, talking to us and sharing her journey as a caregiver. Great story and an amazing lady. Tina McIntosh, who is also an amazing creature, a lovely lady, and she's got the croup. So she's at home, and we're grateful that. How you feeling now, Tina? You doing better?
I'm getting tired. I think when we're done, I'll lay back down and take a nap.
Okay, good. Thank you for coming back to talk to us. I want to talk a little bit about to you, Tina. This is called our segment, Questions for Tina. You ready?
Oh, this is happening.
Okay, you ready? It is happening.
Oh, sure.
All right, we're just going to get right into it then.
Yeah. I ask her you do the first question.
I got the first question? Okay. Tina, what is a memorable moment for your own caregiver journey that deeply impacted you?
Oh, were you ready for that one?
That was a loaded question.
Okay. All right. I had two things that popped into my mind. One was when my biological dad was passing, actively passing. He was in hospice. I knew from my end of life doula training and my work at Joy's house and just experience, I knew that a lot of times people will not pass when their loved ones are attentive in the room. They're kind of holding on. And yet my brother and sister and I were sitting by his bedside as he was, nearing the end of life. And we decided we would stay until 5:00 and then we would go on our way and let him die alone if that's what he wanted to do. And 5:00 on the nose, there comes a real light little tap at the door, and we all turn our attention to the door, and there's this sweet young woman with a beverage cart and a sign basically telling us that if we wanted anything to drink, it was going to be left behind for us. But she was very quiet and very respectful of the dying process. But of course, when we heard her knock, we were kind of, quietly shooed her away, like, no, because we knew it was happening, like, no. And we looked at the door to do that in that moment and looked back at my dad, and he drew his last breath and he was done. And we were like, you stinker. I mean, he literally, it was like waited until we diverted our attention.
And then
We sat there for 45 minutes straight. I mean, it was beautiful. Like it couldn't have been planned any better.
Yeah.
The other was, for those of you who know, you know, but my husband and I have had a series of health issues. We both had a couple bouts of cancer. And his first cancer, we were 41 years old. I had 3 little babes at home. And I remember lying in the bed the night that he was diagnosed, and we were, in tears. And I said to him, I wish I could take this for you, mainly because I'd just been through it the year before. And I said, I wish I could take this for you. And then I stopped myself and I said, no, I don't. This is your chance to live life like you're dying. And this is your chance to have your funeral before you're gone. And so you get out there and do and say all the things you want to do and, create and mend all the relationships you wanted to have a part in and live your best life through this time. And so I'm not going to take it from you.
How many of us could say that?
That was powerful to me.
Oh, my goodness. And that was powerful for me to hear that story. Amazing.
Good.
All right. Here's another question for you. You ready?
Sure.
What is one resource or tool that you wish you had, which you, I guess, wish you had discovered? I'm not saying that correctly. Wish you had discovered earlier in your caregiving journey. That resource or that tool that wasn't there, but you wish you had it now that you know.
That question was so clear. I feel like I should say green.
You know what? She still hasn't. She's got the COVID, but her sense of humor, it doesn't go away. I'm going to start it over. What's one resource or tool that you wish you had discovered earlier in your caregiving journey? I said it perfectly.
You did. You nailed it. I think there are a couple things that come to mind when you ask that question. And one is not a resource or a tool. It's just maybe the knowledge or the experience, and that's not fair, but letting people into your life. I mean, letting people help you. People want to love you, and sometimes they don't know how else to love you except with a stupid chicken casserole. So let them show up with another chicken casserole, But I will say Caregiver Way, which, and it feels a little self-serving to say that out loud, but as a result of my experience, my coworker Karina's experience, all of us at Joy's house, and things that we wish we had when we were caregiving or walking that journey with other caregivers through Joy's house. And we created Caregiver Way. And so
tell everybody about Caregiver Way. Yeah. Please tell everybody quickly what that's about.
So visit caregiverway.com is the website. Visit is important. Visit caregiverway.com. And you can go in, and there's a lot to it. You really have to get in and poke around. There's a lot of community and a lot of self-reflection in there. I love the content pieces. And so there are 5 categories. It's caring for yourself, caring for your loved one, legal and financial, end of life, and life after caregiving. And there are content pieces within each of those that have been vetted by a trusted board, a content advisory board. And you can go in and learn everything from, how to pick out shoes for, an aging loved one that doesn't have a steady walking gait, or what does self-care really mean to you, or the, things to do after your loved one is gone. And so there's a lot of information in there. And I wish that I'd had it, because even though I've done this for a quarter of a century, sometimes it's like being a plumber with a leaky sink. You just forget the things when you're doing it.
Good.
No, so there's my answer.
That's a good one.
That is a really good one. I've got another interesting question. Could you share any ways that you found to involve maybe other family members or friends in the caregiving process?
My brain goes to 2 things. One is have a conversation and come up with some kind of agreement, and know you're both or all going to screw things up, and none of it is intentional or malicious, and just offer some grace, some roles and responsibilities right up front. Are you in charge of the budget? Nope. Okay, are you? And are you in charge of the house? Are you in charge of the animals? Like, who does what? And just offer that grace to each other. I'm going to love you through this, and we're going to mess some things up. We're going to do the best we can together. The other is know that some people just can't show up, and that's okay too. So I know we need to go.
We do. Thank you. Go lay down. Thank you so much. Feel better, and we'll see you next week with hopefully, fingers crossed. Love you, kiddo. See you later. Here's
Love
what
you
we
too.
do. As we close this show, we just want to remind our listeners that they can contact us for more information and resources to help you through the journey of caregiving. Do that at 317-254-0828.
Caregiver Crossing is supported by Cardon and Associates, with 22 communities owned, operated, or managed in the Midwest, and more than 40 years of senior living experience. Cardon and Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. Until next time, take good care of each other.